but also just to clear out a lot of angles using Fade. I think she's so incredibly strong on this map, and I definitely favor her over the Sky at the moment. So I'm more excited to see how Mary's going to make that work in comparison.
Well, Tom, you know, for a lot of teams out there, the comparison, the benchmark that we use is going to be G2, and how good are they in comparison to them. And so now we really get to see the strength this G2 team can bring to the roster now. As we begin, NAVI will be on the attacking side, and they're taking a lot of space in towards C. I mean, this has been read by G2. They've got a lot of players rotating around to try and help out here. Juliano able to grab herself a double. That nade hunting her down, though, could cause some problems. Players forced into the open, but well, the spike has been abandoned completely. Garage retake gonna have to come through. And as they set their sights behind, G2 push the site, claim absolutely all of the control. And well, NAVI just got hit by a lot of chaos on that one.
Definitely not the start they were looking for, that's for sure. And Juliano, again, we say this every single game changes, but she really does love to lead by example. I always find it quite interesting. Like, you look at players like Angel, who a lot of the time plays quite integral roles in terms of like smokers, for example, or initiators, and he'll still go down first a lot of the time because, well, a lot of the time they still manage to win even when he does. For Juliano, that's absolutely fine. The problem is she doesn't go down. She just seems to be able to go for these hyper-aggressive plays, win those battles out, and then at times even just win the game for her team, as we saw in some of the series already this tournament.
Maybe a sign of what's to come in some of these future rounds. A fantastic start for G2. NAVI left to pistols. Headhunter of Proxima looking for some victims, yet to find all too much.
Blinded.
As we look here towards the A site again. It's still, I mean, interestingly going decently well for the attackers, and then all right, well, Juliano's just a get out of jail free card for that one.
It is crazy how long she has been one of the best players in the entirety of Game Changers, going all the way back into Counter-Strike as well. Like, at a lot of the time you see players go from that superstar role, then like go back into supportive roles as you get a bit older and these young stars come along. Teams or players will join G2 and then they'll have to become those more supportive players because they're just not better than Juliano. It must be infuriating. No matter how hard you try, she is just god tier. Wow. I think that's Showstopper Online, right? It must be. 7 kills already.
Well,
oh,
it
one
should
away.
Be. Yeah.
One away.
Of course, up to the 8 orbs. Look, though, that one for Juliano shouldn't be all too difficult to find. I mean, she has been fantastic so far, but now up against rifles. And that's the difference. NAVI really stand a chance in this one of fighting back with the context of how we've gotten here. We definitely need to see them come out of this round with the victory. Want to see it fairly dominant. I mean, a lot of weaknesses there. Those two Bulldogs in the hands of players that seem to be, you know, Mary obviously taking this fight. There's a lot of players on NAVI outside of this position. And then the other player with the Bulldog is Juliano, who's in the rotational spot. And she'll be on her way towards A. They have just started to gamble C, though.
Zephyr down to 4 HP off that peak as well. A little bit low. Rotation going to be able to come back. And with paint shells online, she might not be long for this world. Already being spotted out. And that nade, as said, it could just kill her off. Zephyr a little bit unlucky. And the thing is, they're starting to get low on time. There's already 3 players now within this A site. An aggressive hold into Garage that will likely hear any of the rotations. And not the greatest showstopper we've ever seen, but still, that clock is becoming an issue.
Yeah, a little bit overeager, but I suppose they've been gifted the nade off, or the kill off the back of the nade, so you can understand why Itchy Feet kicks in there. G2 lost one of the Bulldogs. Mary up to a Vandal, though, as they look for fights across the map. NAVI at least finds something. Proxima to Mary, Vandal removed, retrieved by Mimi. Up close. It's just a great chance to do damage. I mean, they know that River is here in the corner. They're able to take her down. That's a little ridiculous. It looked like a headshot to me, but maybe the wall got in the way. Still, we said we wanted to see NAVI win this round. They've done that. But we also wanted to see it happen cleanly, and Tom, that was anything but.
No, and especially when you had like a few SMGs, Bulldogs, and I think it was even a Ghost for Petra. It's still a pretty decent round. The fact is, they managed to come back after what was a pretty poor start to it, and even in the afterplan looked decent, so that's something at least. I also think Proxima must be getting at least a little bit closer to having that tour de force online, which might be an economy saver going into the future. But now is where you really need to see them step up, as they're going to face off against the Rifles and almost getting straight spammed out. Never mind. Giuliano's reign of terror, well, it didn't go great in the last round, but she still managed to open up this one.
Oh yeah, right back on it. The nade in the back pocket, ready to be used still late into the round. 120 on the clock, and NAVI, well, they've got nothing for the player that they've lost. Their mid control is negligible. A single smoke has stopped them from taking over Garage. And now they have to look elsewhere. And that's when they walk right into the hands of Mimi. Like, look at the positions these three players are in. Basically in their spawn, like starved of any information.
I think you could also look at the plays that were made by G2 in this round. Deep control on A, deep control on C, and push mid. Like, they're just disrespecting them. What? All right, Mary. Talk about a two-tap. That's ridiculous. Put them back down straight after just about winning out the bonus round. And, well, we've had many players tainting her as a superstar in the making, but that's just absurd.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. The 2 bullets, 2 kills, 3 rounds for G2. And no cash left in the bank for NAVI. A very important round that it was. I mean, they were looking destroyed in this round, and then this happened.
I love how the stun comes in afterwards. Like, Petra's like, don't worry, Mary, I'll help. I'll help you out.
As if she needs it.
I don't think she needs it. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Well, look, the pistols are getting a bit close here, but there's 2 players. A flash ready on the other side. Mary obviously would blind up her teammate if it is popped close, if it's a quick flash. That might be needed. There's a player right up next to them. Luckily, River's sort of given away the game. That nade completely sold it, and then Mary pops the flash. They're just playing off each other perfectly, using the information. Heal back up for Giuliano. And she knows there was a player in this right corner before. Remember, she threw her nade here. That's why Sephi is so low on HP. She's being distracted by that shot. Or maybe not distracted, just setting her gaze elsewhere. What? She can't miss. That was like a running, crouching shot that lands perfectly. And, well, yeah, sure, they only have pistols, but I mean, it's the same trend. It's the domination coming in from Giuliano, who has farmed up another 3K and is just 3 orbs away from her second ult of the game.
Take a pause. Take a pause now. Not for any other reason that I feel like right now, NAVI are playing as if they're playing against G2, if that makes sense. I'm sure to many people at home, they'll be like, well, yeah, Tom, obviously they are playing against G2. But it's more so just the amount of respect they're giving them, the amount of ground that is being taken. As said, they pushed C, mid, and A in the previous round. This round, they're against pistols. They take a lot of damage early and still fight long. And it just doesn't seem like NAVI are able to find any trades or even just take duels that you kind of expect them to versus these players. I think a lot of teams really struggle with this, is that, okay, we're up against the best, and start playing a little bit more scared than they normally would. And in these early rounds, well, G2 are just flexing on them.
Well, G2 have that runway of experience to allow them to put that pressure on other teams, to make them think about the team that they're up against. The name that G2 brings with them, well, it can help out at times. In NAVI, whether they're getting in their own heads or not, this is a problem void of a solution so far. These rifles, they represent every last credit that NAVI have. They've pulled it all into this one, and G2, with some of this late round utility, they've shifted over another player to the A side. But even with that, it looks like they're hard looking for the retake, ready for the rolling thunder of Rita, perhaps. Although that hasn't come through. Not yet. They still have time before they enter the site. But it doesn't look like it's going to get used. And so a decent post-plant bit of utility if they're allowed to get away with this.
Yeah, having a rolling thunder here could be everything. Try and deny them. Yeah, it doesn't make the most sense. Just wanting to get into that after-plant spot. Aftershock going to be used to delay. Means that the players up above can't really make their move just yet. And information definitely there that there are a couple above. Flash out. Push coming all the way through. Mimi's only going to get one, and the trades are looking good. Batter from Navi, that's for sure. Glance is going to take a lot of damage from the paint shells. While Juliano looking from above, but she's caught by River. A big round from the Rays, leaving Glance alone to try and make this costly, but the swing out from River. She's back on the board, and so are Navi.
Well, River was the one I was going to suggest gets the plant, and I suppose she had other ideas for getting that ulti online. Fantastic stuff, 4-2. Navi needed to look alive again, and they certainly did in this round. Can't help but feel like G2 have got to be upset. They definitely looked like they were playing to catch them after the Rolling Thunder, and it just never came through. The team going in dry, taking the control, and now they've got their Rolling Thunder. They've got a showstopper, and they're very close to a Nightfall as well. I mean, a ton for Navi to play with. This could be them getting right back into the game.
Yeah, it was a different setup because of that Rolling Thunder in the last round, like having a lot less A control, so that's not going to be gifted again. Straight away, G2 are like, okay, well, if they're going to try and walk that and take it for free after we decimated them in the previous round, let's put some pressure there early, have Mary in position to try and deny, and then we can go back to stacking up the other side of the map. The thing is, they're now playing retake on C instead, and while you can see the ult already being utilized, probably not going to find anything. And River does have the spike, so she has to be a little bit careful.
Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. Ships in the night passing each other. Mimi has gone right down into their spawn. It looks like she might be caught, though. Proxima even taking a second to process what she was looking at. Enemy Cypher destroyed, flank secured, but the front not looking too good. They've already lost 2 players. Rolling Thunder is going to go through now. Desperation. I mean, that showstopper committed. Pushing up close is hard, but she is behind them. A beautiful kill, cutting them off completely. Even still, they find the returns. Oh, it's a messy round. Navi having so many options for their lurk plays, and in the end, they lose out in those duels. That puts a 5th on the board for G2.
Yeah, I feel like they maybe rushed it a little bit at the end. Like having a player on that flank, just being able to get a kill and then even just fall out of there probably would have been enough. And then the player in the smoke just almost trying to spam onto the spike that I guess they just assumed was being stuck all the way. But because of that, they almost ended up just rushing into the site and giving those battles. And as we've seen, G2 are very comfortable in those sort of circumstances. Again, just looking like a one and done for Navi. They do have the finances, Mitch, but like, it's not great. You to have it allows for those riskier rotations. Like Mimi may have got caught in the last round, but she still took a lot of space. Juliano already on the hunt. Actually, I was going to say it could have left some slightly isolated players with this deep push from River, and she is going to end up isolated. Already gone down to Mary, but the trade is at least there onto Juliano.
Yeah, I mean, after Juliano had been spotted, she threw out the nade. It looked like that could be to just get her back, you know, or a fadeaway piece of utility, but she wanted to keep fighting, and a ton of damage was done. Not enough, though. Aside of Navi, still having Sephia floating around, and Gia eliminating Glance. This thins out the C-site defense, but it doesn't leave it open. EMEA is still here. Flash certainly makes it seem like they're aware, they're cautious, and, well, their caution's paid off as they deal with Mimi. The site is Navi's, and it seems like that do or die round has been done.
Big one from them. Being able to get back into position after a bit of a shaky earlier duel. Still a bit of credits remaining for the side of G2, so they might actually want to try and challenge this one. 2 players in that back corner. Mary's already going to drop one of them. Paranoia used to try and delay, and I think Sephia now realizing she needs to get into position to actually help out her squad. Rita actually left blind, and Petra still making this one very costly indeed. They will get away with the round just about, but even still only a couple survive.
A narrow victory, but one that's worthwhile. G2 have the finances to go back to a bye anyways. But for Navi, this round now represents a chance to once again break back into things and equalize up. G2's ult economy looking very healthy. 4 should be online. depending on how things go. Navi, on the other hand, yes, they've got it from the shadows. Not sure I really care about that. But combine that with the Nightfall, you could actually have some interesting plays. I've already seen, even down to the Shrouded Steps, used when Nightfall lands a couple players just to go behind them without the sound cue. A little bit more difficult with the ultimate, though.
Again, it just seems like every time she takes a dry peek, she's just winning that battle. Nothing to really support her this time around, and actually she's going to go down for it. At least they're starting to get the trades early. She was running right, and actually Petra is just going to run straight through. Teammate flashes are completely blind, but it doesn't seem to matter. They are just, again, completely disrespecting their opponents with this mid push. And while the G is even going to have to waste a little bit of extra time before she can get this spike down, I don't think it matters.
This is one of the rounds we see from Giuliano that, you know, it's not even that amazing.
Oh
she got just one kill and goes down, but you think about the last round, she got nothing. So technically, the last two rounds, she's not been doing great. And yet, the team's still finding a good foothold in those rounds or dominating them like this here. It's certainly not a good sign, seeing all these win conditions online for G2. And so much left to work with for Navi. Gia used up her ultimate, so we are left with just the Nightfall here.
I also just like the calls, though. The fact that you basically make a call in the moment of, let's 3-push this with double flashes, and everybody commits to it. That's the thing. I feel like you can have a plan that is very risky and may not even work most of the time, but if everybody on your team commits to it, it can work. And that is G2 in a nutshell. Everybody believes in the call that's made, and they just destroy the players in mid.
And for a penny and for a pound, another push from G2. This time, Mary's only good for one. A trade versus pistols. Navi will look to retrieve that weapon, most likely. No. Actually pulling back completely, instead taking the space towards this B side. G has realized there's no way past. Of course, oh, there's no one actually around to hear. This is the thing. I was thinking, oh, it doesn't matter because someone's gonna hear it, but no, they better be aware.
Wow. Like Mimi just knows. Like the second it happens, like there's no way she got a sound cue. It's just that. Oh, what if somehow they got past it and just decimates the player wrapping back? It's got to be infuriating playing against this team. And again, they go back to taking A control. The thing is, the site of C is left open. Don't really expect to see much in terms of aggression out until that wraparound comes through, but they are trapped completely.
Nice shot by Rita. A low HP though, you know. Oh, the stun as good as can be. Luckily, Proxima's evaded detection here, wrapping around the boxes, and a fantastic shot. It keeps hope in play for Navi, but such a difficult task on hand. Proxima comes so close, but another massive round from Mary grants G2 that win.
It's close again for Navi. It's a really nice attempt, some incredible shots here, especially towards the end. Proxima doing about as much as she possibly could, but Mary's still there, and she is having a fantastic game. The new player on the block, currently top of the board, 15-4. And bear in mind, those two players have 29 kills between them, and they basically just push A every round. Like that I think once we've seen Giuliano maybe go B. Yeah, it's just absurd that they're just repeating the same thing again and again and having this much success.
Oh, that's the most G2 thing I can think of. Again, we see Navi looking to deal with this push down on A, some utility going up and over, but at the end of the day, they have not been able to catch them. Giuliano snuck into the close corner. Mary's making noise, making it seem like it's the normal push, hoping they can catch them off guard. But Giuliano tucked. I mean, this isn't something that's brand new to them. They've seen this happen already. Similar positions before. But the mind of Navi is very much based around denying some of these early plays from G2. Sitting back, holding the angles, and watching for the overextension. That hasn't come through. So with a minute on the clock, they make the call to move towards the C site. They're gonna go in blind. Luckily, there's not too much waiting for them there.
Oh, the cam. Spotted everything. Seekers is going to give them a very quick wraparound, and actually Glance is going to go into the site. One of the most spammable spots, but she catches River already and almost manages a multi-frag off the spray down. Petra now just looking to buy time, already leaving them blind, and Mary on that flank. It's not the cleanest of shots, but she's not going to mind. Leaving Proxima again in a clutch situation, even less HP than before. Well, this time she's not going to be given the time of day. 8-3, a truly dominant first half coming out of G2, and NAVI, they need a lot from this final round to at least give themselves a springboard.
Well, we sung the praises of Giuliano, who I believe at one point was 12-1. Yet now she's not top fragging. It's Mary that's up there. If I'm remembering correctly, it was 16-4 that she is going right now. Yeah, 16-4 with 7 assists, mind you. Utterly ridiculous. And it's no one player right now. It's the entire unit of G2 just looking like a well-oiled machine. Oh, right in. Rivers taking an interesting approach, dropping the weapon. Looks like that's being retrieved.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Pulled in by the grab wall. It's a nasty little setup, quickly adapted by G2. Sephia also on 1 HP. This round's not looking any better. And Giuliano, even with a double stack, is quick enough to hit that instant headshot. Mimi now looking to lurk around the backlines. They're consistently re-aggressing, taking space, making these fights so awkward. You never know when you're up against G2 what angles are clear. And while that one definitely isn't, Sephia actually gets 2 kills on 1 HP. Never should have been. Now she's got the Nightfall to reveal Petra's position.
Both of them. She got Petra and Mary, so they're making the call to rotate to C. Now this is a tough decision. With 1 HP, sitting and waiting for them to rush into you, certain death. Instead, Sephia is going to try to make something happen, but Petra is ready. Finger on the trigger. And lucky for her, Bachia took a tag from that peek out of Giuliano earlier, still sitting pretty. That flash has caught her. The information there, they know exactly where to look. They know exactly what to do. She has to cross the first, and Mary is holding it. Gorgeous play by G2 on that retake, and 9-3, we end the first half. This is Navi's map pick, but they do not look at home.
No, that's the problem. I feel like we have seen so much depth from G2 for such a long time. Like, even taking a map off them seems like an impossibility for anyone other than teams like Guild, and they've gone on to an opponent's choice here, a spot where you kind of feel like they have the best opportunity, and as of right now, they're getting battered. So they really need this pistol round. I think it would be an understatement to say anything less. I do still think this composition could work defensively. I think there's a lot of cool like combo setups that you could try and run. It's just whether or not they're going to be able to get the start they need to even have those opportunities.
Oh, Giuliano straight through mid with the blast pack, but Navi are pushing as well. Now they've spotted her. They know she's in the corner, and the nade is perfect on her feet. Tries to do a little right click onto the Omen, pushing her, but she has escaped safely. And with that, flawless round seems to be on the cards. Petra unable to do any further damage, and that is one way to get right back into a map.
Yeah, that's a statement round, and the manner of which they did it as well is what makes it more exciting for us as the viewers. Is like that was a confidence play. That was okay. Let's take some mid control. Let's fight them the way they were fighting us throughout that first half, and let's really try and make it awkward and get up in their faces. Like that's sort of what I was saying early on. Is I felt like Navi were almost shying away from going for some of these riskier fights, but sometimes it takes just a moment of like, okay, we're getting owned. Let's try something a little bit riskier. Let's go for something here, because if we sit back, chances are we lose the round.
Where are you?
Reveal up and over on A, sees nothing. Solo hold will continue. Navi ready for this play to come through on mid. You know, you got River up top, but it's the breach there as well. The stun coming down halts them completely. Now they'll look for Garage, but a passive hold from Gia just looks to do damage as they make their way through. No overextensions this time as Navi look to make the retake happen. 5v3 and all these players are contained.
One enemy remaining.
Gorgeous.
Oh, it's going to be stolen. Wanted to get herself the ace. And unfortunately, not going to be as close
Flawless.
to her showstopper as maybe she could do. But back-to-back flawless rounds. A huge start to the half financially for Na'Vi. Of course, this is where things will get a little bit more difficult. And honestly, a plant for G2, just getting themselves a few extra credits going into the first buy, not necessarily a bad thing. I'm sure they would have liked to do a bit more damage, but it isn't going to be happening this time. Even still, though, what can Na'Vi realistically do with this purchase? Gia's going to have a rifle, which is something extra to play with, but other than that, you're very reliant on someone popping off with an SMG.
I'll pistol and follow up. That's the easy part. This is the, well, apparently that's the hard part. This is the incredibly difficult round. Yeah, they've got a lot of weaknesses. Vandal for Gia, Bulldog for Proxima, and Sephi is the one to open. A Spectre left unchecked in the corner, and somehow good to double up on kills. Navi, I mean, they seem to be stealing this round out effortlessly. Mary and Glance, the final remaining players. And they have it all to do with the spike down on the other side of that wall. They've got to charge forward. There was a welcoming party for them. That was a questionable start to the round.
Yeah, I genuinely think that now G2 need to take a pause just to almost level their heads a little bit. That was so cocky. Like, to try and run out of the smoke one by one and just take individual fights. I think it was Petra trying to trade, but the first pick from Giuliano, it's like, there is no one that can realistically do anything there once you run out of that smoke. And just, yeah, not ready for anybody to be in the corner. I guess just expecting that she'd have a one-on-one fight on the site, but that's purely a gamble. And especially when you have the better weaponry going into the round, it's just not worth the risk.
Yeah, it seems like it could have been a mistiming for something. Maybe they had an intended flash, and for whatever reason, it didn't end up going through. I don't know exactly, but that was a nasty start to a round. This, a little nastier. Proxima, through no fault of their own, they've lost two with a wide swing. Proxima puts Navi into prime position to win out this round, and I'll close that gap even further. But it's about maintaining the economy. Right now, it's pretty healthy for Navi. If G2 were able to kill like 4 players, that's pretty much the only way it ends up having impact. There's one.
Maybe on a sheriff. Gotta be careful. Oh dear! The spam actually gave away the tracers as well, so Giuliano's found another in the corner. Not going to be connected, and oh, it's not quite there for Mimi the second time around. Only a couple lost, and in most circumstances, maybe I'd talk about the financial constraints, but when you win yourself a bonus round, pick up nearly every single rifle, they're in a very good spot.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Navi can also be happy with, they lost.
Ult's not in the worst spot, although you can see that it's starting to build up for G2 as well. And already we're seeing that early nade combination in towards A long, just to try and challenge that control. It is still going to have a lurk from Mimi, who's already walking up. Trying to take garage control at the same time. This is exactly where Proxima wants them to face, and that opening pick is free.
Well, any element of surprise on this A lurk is now completely out of the question. 2 prowlers used, both finding me, and the timing couldn't be worse. Oh, putting the cage out as the swing comes through. Mary wants to recover, but she can't get it done, leaving Sephia with low HP. An ult to go out, miss the information. She's wary these players could be on long. We saw what Sephia could do before with 1 HP. This time 30's not enough. Dropped by the first bullet of Petra, who seemed to be on a tear. Good flash. At least the trade for Glance, an opportunity, but a 1 versus 2. The numbers advantage truly in favor of Navi. That paranoia hit. Glance knows the other player is on the other side of the boxes, but only 6 bullets to play with, and she needed 1 to the head. Gia delivering the final blow and putting 8 on the board for Navi.
definitely a little bit close for comfort, but a really good re-aggression from them. I think especially this round comes down to just how well Sephia used all of her utility. Like those prowlers to just check those close angles as they were reclaiming space, even using her ult in the end, just to check if there's anyone still behind. Like it doesn't catch the players, but that also gives information in itself. It's like, okay, they can't have fallen back because we were just fighting them. That means they're pushing me in the other direction. So it just gives her that little bit of extra info. Very clever with the way she played that. And okay, sure, there's always going to be the clutch plays from G2, but Na'Vi firmly putting themselves back into this game. The buy out this time not great. And you know what? I don't really blame that quick rotation from Proxima. Depends how far Giuliano's going to get, though.
Proxima didn't realize, luckily, the bullets were fired. That could have been so awkward. Yeah, but Giuliano has got the side now. The retake is going to have to be played for.
Look at all the ults. Like, that's the thing. She's not far away from having a showstopper. You've got yourself Seekers. If you want to try and get the information, straight away they're going to put down the Cosmic Divide, force some close range duels. You've got a Rolling Thunder to buy time if you can get into an afterplan position. They may not have the best weaponry here, Midge, but they do have good ults.
They're looking to use this Rolling Thunder in an aggressive way. Once they hear the push starting to come through, glance behind. Does she expect the second player? Doesn't matter. Weapon away. G didn't stand a chance. Here comes Rolling Thunder. Long flank, though. It's good, and she lines them up. Sephia with the trigger discipline. And that's netted her 3 kills. A return to Mimi, and Glance now the last alive. A swing out from long, a double. That was so close. And the timer, I don't think it's ticked quite low enough. It's going to be incredibly close, but by 0.2 of a second, NAVI will equalize.
Oh, that's so close to going the way of G2. It's so ridiculously close just based off the timer alone, but great work from Sephia there. That's the thing. That's a player who was noted. The steps were heard, but it seemed like the rest of G2 were almost completely unaware when she went running through that smoke, especially after the Rolling Thunder was used towards the spawn side. You'd almost expect there to be somebody watching for that flank, because one of the only real dangers left. Now, it wasn't a purchase, but that's a lot of ults used, and while River going to be stunned up and caught in the cage, they're trying desperately to avoid her, and while it's not far away, but it doesn't get anything.
Sephia's gone down, so too is River. The ult committed to try and gain an advantage. Instead, they sit with a heavy disadvantage. Gia lightening the load a little bit, but G2 storming into the A site. Seems inevitable. I say that though. Proxima's managed to sneak her way in. A good flash seems to deter any further aggression. The smoke blocks the angle. What? Oh, the shot out of Proxima. I'm not sure which one came first. Her shot or Mary's, but oh, that was ridiculous.
2 players left to try and bring this back. Money not in the greatest position for these two, but they do have teammates to be able to buy them out. The thing is, getting past all of this utility, not going to be easy. Being delayed to the point where actually bringing the operator into the next round is going to be worthwhile. It's taken G2 6 rounds to get themselves back onto the board, but the lead will not be reclaimed. Or not taken, I should say, by NAVI. And while G2 winning it out with a decent amount of players standing is going to at least set them up for a decent spot economically.
Well, the lead may be G2's, but it's a fickle one. The economy of NAVI looking good. The purchases to come through.
It means that they can buy it into the next round. A teammate dropped as well by Proxima. For G2 early, they're pressuring mid, but so are NAVI. They have walked all the way up, and especially after failures of the last round, I don't think this is necessarily going to be expected.
If at first you don't succeed, try with a little bit differently. One player in the window, flash gone through, it catches, but I mean, that could easily be a player on B side. Trapwire going to hold the information behind them as they make their way forward. That camera was heard activating, but the steps onto A not heard. I mean, they're going to have a fast flank, but I don't think the information is going to be void. G2 should be able to hear it as they make their way through. get themselves the plant. We're keeping our eye on Glance. Tucked in that corner on A long. The flank is underway. They're going to break the trap, and that's when Glance has the chance. There you go.
She has support, though. And Juliano's got aggressive. That's the thing. This is a double up, and they're not even going to check. Glance is just going to wipe him out. I don't mind the idea initially, but there wasn't an awful lot to get back into that site. Well, G2 were very, very aware that there could be players quickly looking to come in from behind. A two-stack with Mimi further down, and Proxima trying her best to at least do some damage here. Now, she might have a buy for herself in the next round with the tour de force, but her teammates not in the greatest financial position.
Perfect. Oh. I mean, I was going to say perfect nade, but it was even better than I thought. Landing right on her, 11-9. And for G2, yeah, what a fantastic round. Taking that op out of their hands. Yes, they will still have tour de force to work with, but a lot of players suffering weaknesses in this round, and a second op floating around could have made all the difference. So with that, G2's lead extends, and NAVI come to the critical breaking point. Lose this round, the game is likely over. At least the map. A Pearl up next being G2's map pick. NAVI have got to be sweating at this point. They know this is the round they have to win. G2 are approaching it slowly, perhaps allowing them to make a mistake.
After a decent streak of rounds, the reads out from G2 have been fantastic, slowing down the play, not being so aggressive and taking as many risks, I guess. But they've also started to find the gaps. The last round getting into the A site for free. I imagine a lot of that was just off the lack of Fade Ray's utility. It was such a common part to the early A control that the second it goes amiss, G2 notice how they start to build into the B site. Only one defender alongside the trap, and the flash is going to tell them there's no one on the left side.
Well, there's the showstopper. It looks like that stun has come in just in time, and the return onto Rita leaves her on 11 HP. She survived the rocket launcher. And with that, well, I mean, it's eyes on the site.
It's a ruse.
Ooh, that's not the fight you wanted. I mean, that's fully sold it.
Yeah. Everybody's rotating. Of course they are. There's a cosmic divide, so they can't hit anybody close to that left-hand side of B. So they're all just expecting them to be around that angle, waiting for the plant to go down. And in the meantime, it was just Juliano selling a fake. She gets out of there taking 0 damage as the only player fighting against the whole team. And now 4 players looking to retake while she's still on the flank.
Yeah, they've hard cleared her in mid. They made sure she wasn't around B anymore. And now she's taking her timing to come up behind, waiting for them to initiate the push. And then she rushes through. Great space taking. What a read. And what an execution. With just 30 HP, Sephia has to 1 versus, I think that was a 1v4. Even the 2 remaining, though. That's all that is needed to close this round. 12-9. And a 1 rifle save for NAVI. That's not enough to help them out. I mean, they are destitute.
I was just such an impressive round from G2. Juliano, as said, we've seen this many a time where she's willing to almost sell herself completely down the river and then somehow still wins the round. Like, it's just absurd. Like, a little bit unlucky that that doesn't get the initial kill, but the selling of the fake using the cosmic divide, they even threw flashes into that B site. I don't blame NAVI for falling for that fake. And then by the time they actually realize, well, Juliano's still playing in behind them, it is now down to the weakest of buys we've seen from them in quite a long time, and no real ults online. Rolling Thunder at least close.
Proxima's down. The early fights, you know, they've all been around short in that first half. G2 love to fight it. Proxima's had some success from there as well, but this time around, not even able to begin the dismiss. 4 players have been spotted by that ult. 3 at least. With the shot coming out from long, they should be able to connect the dots pretty easily on this one. Only 1 unaccounted for, and for NAVI, you can see they're at least going to be putting most of their numbers on A. Having already lost that player early, though, it's still only a 2-man stack. And most of the utility's gone. You know, Sephi is the player behind. She has nothing to work with. Just dry swinging into those angles. at least trading Rita, but that Rolling Thunder, it's online on a dead player.
Oh, Sephia. Oh, she doesn't get anything either. Mimi quick to remove the remaining player on this site. Spike still yet to go down, although it is in the right position. They've got to try and clear River, who's looking to make a move a little bit quicker. It's not going to be happening, though. G2, it took them some time to get the job done, but they have managed to take their opponent's map choice, get themselves firmly in favor in this series, and put them